Hi everyone. I'd like to get your attention. Great. Okay. Hi everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming out to celebrate the accomplishments of these amazing graduate students. Henry Huxley Award. So my name is Noesen, and I am a junior in the environmental science program, and I was your AS senator in the past year. And on behalf of all the first, second, and third year students, I would like, and the 48 classes of Huxley alumni that came before you, I would like to congratulate you all. And so, for those of you who are visiting, welcome to our campus, to Bellingham, and this beautiful part of the Salish Sea. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are convened today on the ancestral home and traditional territory of the Lummi, Noesen, and Coast Salish peoples. Since time immemorial, they have sustained their way of life by reef net fishing for the sockeye that have moved through the San Juan Islands and digging clams in the clean waters. And in recent times, they have been on the cutting edge of environmental protection, exercising their treaty rights for the benefit of us all, and for which we owe our collective gratitude. And so a couple announcements before we begin. The images shown here are a mix of graduate photos and pictures taken by students in the various Huxley classes. And then as a reminder, we'll hope that you'll pick up a Huxley t-shirt or a sweatshirt before you leave today, as the proceeds from those sales help to fund this event in the future. And then with that, it is my honor to introduce our Dean, Steve Holhurst.
Wow, what a crowd. Good afternoon. Let's see who's here with us today. And what I'd like to do is say some categories of folks, and I'd like you to stand up and then keep standing. So let's see, who's a mom of a graduate here today? Would you please stand up? All the dads, will you stand up too? Okay, keep standing. How about grandparents and great-grandparents? If you can stand. Okay, let's keep going. How about all the spouses? Spouses stand up. All right, now let's do sons and daughters. Let's have them stand up. All right, now brothers and sisters. There you go. Cousins, uncles and aunts, friends, everybody who's related. Graduates, let's give all of these folks who supported you a round of applause. You may be seated. Okay, now let's do another one. Who is a Western alum? If you'd stand as you're able, please. Okay, be seated. And then let's see. Let's please stand if you're a Huxley alum. Any of those in the audience? Thank you all for being here. We also have a few special guests that I'd like to recognize. Our keynote speaker, Huxley alum, Bellingham community member, and Washington Department of Ecology environmental engineer, Tazeen Mohammed Ali. Tazeen, thank you for being here with your family today. And we have one emeritus faculty member here who started at Western in 1961 and retired in 2014. With Debnath Mukherjee over here. Debnath, would you please stand up and be recognized? I'm going to give out an award later to outstanding faculty member on an award's named after Debnath. You'll see that later. Okay. The other group with us is our remarkable group of faculty and staff. Huxley is special not only for our mission to educate the next generation of environmental leaders and problem solvers, but also because of this amazing and talented and dedicated group of people. So would all of the faculty and staff in the college please stand? Let's give them all a round of applause. And to the class of 2019, congratulations. This year's graduating class is a record 380 strong, by far our biggest class ever. A record 35 of you are master's graduates, and a record 27 of you are graduating from our Huxley on the Peninsulas program. You can tell this is going to be a loud group all afternoon. Yeah. About 90 of you, about 1/4, identify as the first members of your family to earn a 4-year degree. You hail from 20-some states, from California to Massachusetts, and from Alaska to Florida. One of you is from Japan. Your diverse interests include marine science, environmental education, environmental justice, toxicology, policy, freshwater and terrestrial ecology, geography, economics, urban planning, geographic information science, disaster and risk reduction, and sustainability. More and more of you are graduating from our newest degrees in business and sustainability and energy studies. One nonconformist among you wasn't satisfied with any of those offerings and designed their own Huxley major. 4 of you also are graduating with teaching degrees or credentials and plan to become K-12 teachers. And at least one of you is a veteran completing your degree after military service. Thank you. You are the 49th class since Huxley was founded as the first interdisciplinary college of the environment in the world. We've made great progress over those years, but at the same time, more difficult and intractable problems have arisen. Class of 2019, you have big responsibility. No challenge poses a greater threat to the future generations than climate change. No matter what you do in your careers, climate change will be part of that work. Thomas H. Huxley once said, "Learn what is true to do what is right." Learn what is true to do what is right. These words mean more today than ever. You are graduating at a time when not only is the planet heating up, but there is a full-fledged assault on truth, a disregard for reason, and the denial of scientific fact. There's really only one response to this assault: to keep seeking truth. Whatever you do, do it with honesty and integrity, and regardless of your chosen career, remember you are only as good as your word. We are depending on you to stand up for truth, to stand up for reason, to stand up for environmental justice, and to stand up for science. This is the existential challenge you face. and we need it solved during your career span. You will do this work in boardrooms, and in classrooms, and in courtrooms. You will be in laboratories and on boats. You'll be in pickup trucks out in the field. Some of you will write, produce music, art, and film, go into elective office, run businesses, plan the communities we live in, or shape public policy. Others will be wonderful parents and community members. Some will go to far-flung places around the globe, and some of you will go back home to your hometowns. And some will serve in ways that we can't even comprehend today. This is what makes us so hopeful about you. This is what makes you, as an academic and professional community, unique among the world's college graduates. This is your time, and the planet needs you. Now, let's get on with the show, shall we? We'll begin by recognizing our university and college award winners. Awardees, what will happen is your name will be called, and we want you to proceed up onto the stage as recognized. Then, we want you to remain up here while all the other awardees come up, and then we'll take a picture of you all, and then you can sit down. Sound like a plan? All right. Okay, so let's begin with Dr. Troy Abel, who will recognize this year's Presidential Scholar Awardee and present the Huxley on the Peninsula's Award. Thank you.
The Presidential Scholar Award is a highly prestigious university award presented to one student from each of Western's academic college. Those 7 recipients have achieved outstanding scholarly accomplishments, furthered multicultural activities, and served their peers, departments, or community during their years as a Western student. Awardees received their awards yesterday at a ceremony with the President and Board of Trustees. This year's Huxley College recipient of the WWU Presidential Scholar Award is Kylie Butler. Regrettably, she and her family started their return to Nia Bay, so she's not able to join us this afternoon. Kylie majored in environmental policy, and in one of my classes, she developed an innovative synthesis to examine tribal food sovereignty and environmental justice. In this and more of her scholarship, she weaves indigenous ways of knowing, scientific knowledge, and the history of her Macaw tribe together. It is this intertwining of spirit, story, and science that can help heal our broken relationship with our earth. Please join me in a round of applause for Kylie Butler. Our next award recognizes the outstanding senior for our Huxley College on the Peninsula's program. This award is given to one student as determined by our program faculty. This year's recipient is Deborah Weinman. Unfortunately, she too is unable to join us. She's graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Studies, a minor in Energy Studies, and a 4.0 GPA. She was recognized by the Peninsula's faculty and staff for her dedication to helping develop decarbonization strategies for Bainbridge Island, high-quality coursework, and her amazing intellectual curiosity. Let's give a round of applause to Deborah. Now I'm privileged to invite Dr. Grace Wong, the chair of the Department of Environmental Studies, and Dr. David Wallen, the chair of the Department of Environmental Sciences, to present their awards.
Welcome, everyone. The Departmental Outstanding Senior is a university award given to one student from each department based on criteria set by department faculty. The award is given by every academic department across the university. This year's Environmental Studies Outstanding Graduate is Riley Embley. Riley is one of our inaugural AS Senators for Huxley College and has been instrumental in seeking ways to institutionalize equity, diversity, and inclusion in course curriculum and transparency and governance policies. He's graduating with a BA in Environmental Policy. Congratulations, Riley. Our next award is the Departmental Outstanding Environmental Applications Experience Award. This Huxley College Award is given to one student in each department for excellence in planning, implementing, and reporting their thesis, senior project, or internship. This year's award goes to Gloria Baldwin. Gloria, would you please join us on the stage? Gloria is graduating with a BA in Geography. Her research involved the history of coffee, the coffee industry, and the culture tied with it, which will be presented to the community at a local coffee roaster. Let's give another round of applause to Gloria. Our next award is the Departmental Community Service Award. This honor is given to one student in each department who has proven scholastic achievement and service to Huxley, Western, and the Bellingham community at large. This year's award goes to Isaiah Corbray. Please join me on stage. Isaiah is graduating with a BA in Urban Planning and Sustainable Development. She was recognized by faculty for her ongoing investment in the community engagement and development aspects of urban planning. In particular, throughout her service on the Huxley College Diversity and Community Affairs Committee and the university's Social Justice and Equity Committee, as well as her support to fellow students, her work is centered around addressing justice, equity, inclusion, and oppressive power dynamics on campus and throughout the Western Washington region. Congratulations, Isaiah.
This year's Environmental Science Outstanding graduate is Melanie Roy. Unfortunately, Melanie is unable to join us today, but she's demonstrated amazing scholarly work both in the classroom and lab, earning a GPA of 4.0. In addition to completing this feat, she's consistently shown that she has a deep and nuanced understanding of the concepts of environmental science that go well beyond her grades. We're excited to see what Melanie does next. Let's give a round of applause for Melanie. Our next award is the Departmental Outstanding Environmental Applications Experience Award. This year's award goes to Ethan Brown. Ethan, could you please come to the podium? Ethan completed two independent projects. The first was an investigation of how water quality impacts passive water samplers, and the second was the conceptualization of a risk assessment for the interaction between gene-drive modified mice and pesticides to eliminate an invasive population. He presented his work at multiple conferences, received awards for the work, and he'll be continuing as a graduate student in the fall. We feel fortunate to have him with us. Our next award is the Departmental Community Service Award. This year's award goes to Eliana Bravo. Eliana, could you please come to the stage? Eliana has been an active member of the college's diversity committee, several sustainability and justice fund grants, co-chairs the Native American Student Association, NASU, and is also an active member in the Society for Chicanos and Native American Students. She's a big part of the WWU powwow, which was held last month, and she was also on the advisory committee for the Tribal Liaison Office. On top of all this, she's been active in helping on research projects and mentoring newer students. Congratulations. Professor Ming-Ho Yu was the first faculty member hired by the first dean of Huxley College way back in 1968. And the Professor Ming-Ho Yu Outstanding Toxicology Award is given to the toxicology student based on their academic performance in toxicology courses, extracurricular activities related to the discipline, and their potential to further contribute to the discipline. This year's recipients are Janae Gallant and Ethan Brown. Could you two please join us on stage? Janae and Ethan were recognized by the faculty for being outstanding undergraduate researchers. Janae has been an outstanding student in the field of toxicology. Not only did she excel in her courses with an overall GPA of 3.92, she's also been an important contributor to a project investigating how to reduce toxicity of lead in contaminated soils. As mentioned before, Ethan has been conducting risk assessment projects on gene drives to control invasive mice populations, and also another undergraduate research project under the tutelage of Dr. Ruth Sofel. Congratulations.
As many of you may know, our college is named after the eminent English biologist Thomas Henry Huxley. One student each year is selected for the Thomas Henry Huxley Award and to be your student speaker for this celebration. This recipient demonstrated exceptional scholastic achievement and has been involved in the community, served Huxley College, and shown all-around excellence in interdisciplinary environmental studies. This year's award winner is Ethan Duvall. Ethan, would you please come to the podium? Ethan was nominated by Professor David Wallen. He is graduating with a 3.58 GPA in environmental science with terrestrial ecology emphasis. As part of the Elwha River restoration process, following one of the largest dam removals in the world, he studied the dramatic effects of dam removal on river-dependent birds, examining changes in the abundance and distribution of river-dependent birds in response to the severe habitat changes that occurred. The results of his research will help to inform future dam removal projects and help leverage wildlife roles and responses in future restoration projects. More locally, he has been studying overwintering bald eagles on the Noesen River, assessing their current abundance and distribution and examining long-term changes since 1974. Ethan also worked with Dr. Wallen on the Olympic mountain goat relocation project, retrieving radio collars and tracking mountain goats in the backcountry of the North Cascades, utilizing skills he developed here at Huxley College in Pacific Northwest ecosystems. Congratulations, Ethan. Beautiful photos will be taken in this moment. Smile, everyone. So, photos good? Yeah. Great. Oh, there's the doctor. Yeah, okay. So let's give one more round of applause for these balloons. It is now my pleasure to turn the podium over to Ethan Duvall, your 2019 Thomas Henry Huxley Award winner, to share some of his experiences as a Huxley student.
It's bright. It's really bright. Thank you, everybody. Speaking here is a huge honor for me that really extends to all the people who participated in my work and helped me through it. So I gotta say thank you to my friends, my professors, my family, my amazing grandparents and parents, Laura and Luke, I love you guys. Kaylin, I love you. Thank you for your support. It also would not be right for me to stand here without thanking and acknowledging my amazing mentor in science and in life, Dr. John McLaughlin. John, your willingness and passion to direct me in the field of ecology has literally shaped every aspect of my life, and I consider myself extremely fortunate to have worked with you. So thank you so much, and let's give it up for John. So there's a lot of things I thought to talk about here today when I found out I was going to be speaking. My personal research, my inspirations and struggles, what it was like going through college, sharing a bunk bed with someone who snores viciously every single night. But I think the most important thing we can do together here as a community before we depart from this place is really assess what the future needs from us as we depart with our degrees. In response to the critical endangered status of our resident orca whales, our governor assembled a task force of elite scientists and other leaders to assess how we are going to save our beloved orcas from extinction. And although it is very clear what dramatic and immediate action is necessary if we are going to save the orcas, undamming the rivers, bringing back the Chinook, seizing all pollution, all vessel traffic, the task force's initial decision was that further studying would be conducted to inform the correct action. Although the assembly of the task force is a step in the right direction, and their initial recommendations are a step in the right direction, it hurts for us because we know that these immediate actions are not actually doing enough to save the species. Even though we have all the science telling us exactly what we need to do, that if we don't act now, we may never get the chance to act again, we continue to pretend like we are doing enough to help, making these small token efforts to issues that are going to take much more action. I know many of you are already educated about this issue with the orcas, but I bring up this example because it was something that really made me think. How often are we making token efforts to much larger and severe environmental issues, giving off the idea that we are doing something great, when really we are falling insufficiently short of our goals? One thing that I had found in my own life is that I had kind of settled with the idea that my lifestyle was actually pretty good for the environment, and that I wasn't to blame for a lot of the larger issues that we faced. I used a reusable bag at the grocery store. I turned off the lights in my house. I recycled whenever possible, and as an environmental science major, people had always told me that I was part of the solution, and that the world needed more people like me. And although these were good things, as I spent more and more time analyzing the drivers of these environmental issues, our harmful, ignorant, consumer-based lifestyles, I began to realize that I was far from being the person that the world needed from me. When it came to stepping up and making sacrifices for the environment that were less easy, I constantly made excuses. I blamed our society for the way that it functioned, and I blamed the government for not controlling society. And I was constantly angry about the way that things were. Yet, as part of this society, I fit right into all of the issues. My garbage can still filled up each week. I still ate meat, I took long showers, drove my car a few blocks when I didn't want to drive or I didn't want to ride my bike. I was still going to the store and filling up my non-plastic reusable grocery bag with items wrapped in plastic. I was a mass consumer. I had all the clothes I wanted, all the outdoor gear I wanted, all the luxuries you would expect in a first world society. And what I realized was I was essentially making these small token efforts in my personal life to try and reduce my impact. Even though I was aware of how serious environmental issues were, and I was aware of the consequences of every decision that I made, I continued to live the way I'd always lived. And this amount of change, this change of thinking was so difficult for me because I was not raised to think about these things. I don't know if any of us here really were. We grew up in a time where a plastic fork could be made in China, driven to the coast, shipped overseas, driven to your local grocery store, at which point you'll drive to the grocery store, bring it back home, have a nice family barbecue on a summer day, use that fork one time and throw it away. A single plastic fork which takes up to 1,000 years to decompose. That's the journey and impact of that fork. And it was a completely normal thing in the society that we grew up in, at least for me. And I think that we all know that these things should not be normal. And that's why it is my hope that we as future parents, as future leaders, can begin to strip away at this idea of normality. Teach our kids, our families, the organizations we will work for, what is really right for the world and what is absolutely unacceptable for the environment. As recent graduates with environmental degrees, we are going to become the future leaders of this change of thinking. We are going to be put in positions in our careers and in our communities where we can either conform to the way things continue to run, or we can really step up, face reality and the severity of the issues we face, and take action without any excuses. I'd like to end with having us all imagine what we are going to say to our children and grandchildren. Living in a world where our ocean is filled with plastic, the coral reefs are dead, the rivers are dry, the orcas are gone, and they look up to you, not to society, not to the government, but they look up to you and say, what did you do to try and stop this? How could you have been a part of this? And if I'm not able to tell my kids that I did everything I could to make a real difference, I seriously don't know if I could live with myself. I am challenging you to leave today and make those difficult changes in your personal lifestyle choices, but also in your future careers, as leaders, as people with a voice, and now the credentials to really stand up and take a stand against the harmful status quo. And if at any point it seems difficult, then you are probably doing the right thing. Because though they say change is hard, the change we face is going to be extremely hard. But the workers need it, the planet needs it, we need it, and our children and grandchildren need it. Thank you so much.
Wonderful speech reminding us why we all became Huxley majors. So now we have one special faculty award to present. One of the things that makes Huxley and Western special is its focus on undergraduate education. In support of this, a few years ago, the Devnath Mukherjee Award for Excellence in Teaching was created in honor of his 50-plus years as a geography faculty member. He's sitting right over there, but you could wave for us. Thank you. So this award goes to the faculty member who best exemplifies Deb's dedication to teaching during his long career. This year, the award goes to Dr. Jim Helfield. So, I would like to read some of what his student nominators wrote about him. The first time I met Jim was in his Fundamentals of Ecology class during my sophomore year. He entered the classroom on the first day of the quarter and immediately captured the attention of every student in the room. Sipping from his I Heart Canada Tires mug, Jim led us through ecological principles and theories like a seasoned storyteller. I have never been more engaged, interested, and focused than when I was in Jim's class. Jim is not afraid to hold his students to high expectations, and yet he recognizes that we all balance a heavy load of work, school, and life. He is lenient about assignment due dates and accommodates our busy schedules. However, because he commands so much respect, all of his students are motivated to learn and work hard to meet his expectations. Another one. Because his lectures are so engaging, I have never met a student who would be willing to miss a single day of his classes. He cares about his students, and it's clear that he wants to make sure his classes provide the best learning experience for them. That's why I think he's an amazing candidate for the Devnath Mukherjee Excellence in Teaching Award. Congratulations, Jim. It's a Huxley tradition to have a little dancing music at this celebration. And so this year we have Jim Jackson and friends joining us. This band includes Huxley's Eastside Master's graduate student Colin Schmidt, who along with all of you is graduating this quarter. So here are Jim Jackson and friends.